Today we're going to be unboxing my biggest resin yet, the Dream Studio Franky. So the box has a bit of damage on it, which I think is mainly due to the box itself being weak. It's definitely not a box I would reuse. So first let's see how much he weighs when fully packaged in the box. It weighs 38 pounds and 15 ounces. And now it's time to open it up. So on this side of the box, we've got some nice colored art of Franky. Then over here, we've got his name at the top in Japanese, with Franky down here below it. The box also has some pictures of the statue itself on this side, and then one big picture of it right here. And now that I've got the top of the box open, we can see that Franky's inside this huge block of foam. It was a bit of a struggle to get the foam out of the box, but eventually I got it out. So here we've got the first layer of 3. The first piece in here is the numbered edition plate, and it has some weight to it. It feels pretty nice. Looks like I've got number 57 of 100. And next we've got the bust. It has 2 chunks of foam. This one's stuck in there pretty good. So you can just put whichever head you aren't currently using onto this bust. And here's the first of the 2 heads. It's got a chunk of foam going across right here and then another one down there keeping the head in place. And here it is, a big Franky head. Looks pretty nice. Then in here we've got a little stand for the edition plate. And under this chunk of foam it looks like we've got a little bit of blue tack, which I've heard is something you can use to help secure a piece if the magnet is too weak or if the piece is just loose. And then we've got his sunglasses in here also, which are just made out of plastic. And here's the second head, with a chunk of foam keeping it in place. And now we've got both heads out. This one looks pretty nice too. And in here we've got this, which is one of the water effect pieces that goes on his base. Now, this thing is just going to be huge. Like, I knew it was big, but now that I'm seeing all the pieces, I just see how huge it really is going to be. And now for the last piece of the first layer, which is the top portion of the base. I kind of just pulled this piece up by the bag until I could get my hand under there to pull it out. Now onto the second layer, and we've got Franky himself in here. And he just looks huge. Like, I read the measurements, but he looks even bigger in person. And somehow I didn't notice that a chunk of his hand had broke off. I even touched it right here and still didn't notice. But yeah, he's got these 2 long chunks of foam, one on each leg, so just pull that one out, then the other one, and now both of his legs are free. And here's the second and last water effect piece for his base. So to get him out, I grabbed his arm right here, and then pulled up and kind of forward on the bags around his legs. Maybe there's an easier way to do it without risking tearing the bags, but that's what I did. And it took me till then to finally notice that his hand was broken off. See it right there, just loose in the bag. I'm actually surprised it didn't scratch him up more than it did. But let's get the rest of the pieces out, put them together, then we'll look at the damage. So the first thing we're taking out of the bottom layer is this little Straw Hat Pirates Jolly Roger, which looks pretty good. And right here we've got this little circle piece that goes on the base, and this kind of rusted metal beam. Then last is the base itself. And the bottom of the base looks really nice. It's got Franky in black and white, and then the edition number again, 57 of 100. They did a pretty bad job of putting this on though, it's really off center. And now we'll put him together on the scale, so we can see the weight go up as each piece is added. The first piece on is the base, and it weighs 4 pounds and 15 ounces. And it's got this nice kind of fabric, felt-like material on the top of it. The bottom of the second layer of the base also has that. So you have the option to display him on only this portion of the base, but you will be missing out on these few pieces if you choose not to use the bottom layer. 2 of which are these water splash effect pieces. They look good, but they are pretty wobbly. This might be a situation where blue tack would come in handy. Maybe I'll try it, but for now I think they'll stay in there good enough. Then we've got this nice rusted piece. I think it looks good. And that brings us to just over 6 pounds. And now for the top portion of the base. You can tell where it goes by looking at this gap right here. Just gotta place it down with the gap around the rusted piece like this. So this piece takes it all the way to 11 pounds and 13 ounces. Now here's the last piece to go on before we add Franky on. Now we're at 12 pounds exactly. And here we can see where Franky hooks into the base. He's got a rod on his right foot which sticks into this hole right here, and then a block on his left foot which goes into this hole. So Franky himself is pretty heavy. He's probably going to be the bulk of the weight. So yeah, he takes it from 12 pounds to 26 pounds and 6 ounces. And now let's take a look at the damage. So right here you can see it took some of the paint off where it broke off. Then on the top of the hand it's got some red marks from the piece moving around loose in there. You can see some more paint transfer there on the blue portion of his arm. Luckily the hand itself didn't break in half or anything. I can put it right back in there, but even with it back on you can still see the ugly part there where the paint chipped off. So for now I'll just leave it loose in there and I'll see what Kyle Nation can do for me. And the total weight is 26 pounds and 7 ounces. As for his height, he measures just about 51 centimeters tall to the tip of his hair. And one of the best things about this is that he comes with an extra head with his short haircut. It also comes with these plastic sunglasses which he can actually wear, but only when he's on the bust. When you have the head on the actual statue, the fingers get in the way of the sunglasses, but that's how it's intended to be and it looks great like that. I think the bust itself looks really good. I like how it has that stone look on the back. And as much as I like this head, I love the one with the original hairstyle even more. It's got like 2 shades of blue in it, which looks really nice. In my opinion, this hairstyle for Franky just can't be beat. It's actually the main reason I bought this. And now let's take a look at the rest of him. So he's got his big red shoulders with the BF37 markings on them. They look pretty good, they're super reflective. Then we see a little bit of his skin here before it transitions to the blue portion of his arm at his elbow. It's got the blue star on it, it looks great. And then as we move on, we can see his pink hand with his red fingers and the black little lines in between them. Looks pretty good. And I really like how they did the clothes on this one. These have a nice smooth look to them, with a few black lines in there for detail. And the shirt looks great also. It's got more of those black lines in there, and then the palm trees look great. It's got a lot of folds sculpted into it, making it look like it's flowing. Just looks really nice, I love it. And they decided to go for sort of a torn up look for the shirt. If you look all around it, you can see various spots where there's little tears in it on the back, front, just everywhere. I don't really mind it too much. And next is his body, which I think looks alright. I do think those muscles surrounding his six-pack look a little odd, and the texture on his skin kind of looks like what happens if you leave your fingers in the water for too long. I also think it looks a bit too skinny. It should be widening a lot earlier than it is. So yeah, the body on this Franky looks like what he would have looked like if he wouldn't have went so extreme on his modifications. It looks like somewhere in between the pre-time skip body shape and post-time skip shape. Now moving on down to his legs, he's got that metal on them. They look really well detailed. You can see little dings in them, scratches, look all beat up. And of course he's got the hair on his calves. Then moving all the way down, we see his feet, which look pretty good. He's got those little lines on his toes, and you can see his toenails too. And now we're finally to the base, which looks great. Franky's standing on top of all these rocks, which are really nicely detailed. Then behind them we've got 2 waves of water splashing up. I really like how they did the white at the ends of these. And right by them there's this rusted scrap piece, which I think looks great. Then there's one more piece over here, with some nice wood texture in the middle of it. The bottom of the vase also has some great detail. It kind of looks like the top of a barrel. Then it's got the Straw Hatch Jolly Roger there in the middle. So yeah, this is a great Franky. I have a lot more resins on the way this year, so keep an eye out for those videos. And if you want to see more right now, here's a few of my previous ones.